All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's market color session. My name is Abigail, and I'm going to be taking the first part of today's analysis. Please kindly confirm if you can hear me, and you can also see my screen. All right, good morning, Mr. Ibukun. Good to have you here. Misunderstood, and Mr. Obiezino. Good morning, everyone. So let's get down to business, shall we? What does the market have in store for us today? So I'm going to be looking at commodity currency pairs, which are AUD-USD and ZUSD. And I'm also going to touch on the DXY. We'll also take a quick look at the USD card to make it the complete commodity currencies that we have in store today. But first of all, let's just see what the dollar is doing. All right, so starting from the monthly time frame and looking at our most recent swing, you'd see that we currently have a bullish swing in play. Mark it up out just so I can find my liquidity in between. And right beside it, we have our flip zone. Look at that. We have a previous resistance that may become support. Currently, price is now at that zone. Price is now at that zone. Give me a second while I remove some things from the screen. Perfect. So we now have price at this zone. So all things being equal, price should find support at this level and continue to buy. But if it doesn't, where is the next possible area it's going to trade into? It's going to come all the way into our Fibonacci 50 to 61.8% fib level. And just around that zone, we have an extra confluence. We have a fair value gap that is residing between the 50 to 61.8% fib level. So you can see that on the higher perspective DXY, there is more room for it to trade below. So that find support where it currently is, or to trade below that zone and trade into our next POI before we now start looking for buy opportunities on the dollar. Looking at the weekly time frame now, you'd also see that what we saw on the monthly time frame has now been confirmed. There is still more room for the XY to trade below. If you look at the daily time frame, you'd see that we had a shoulder that was printed around this zone, a sweep and a break below, right? So before price is going to reverse, we should see this liquidity point taken out. If price is going to reverse, we expect this zone to be taken out, right? So the shoulder is sweep, a break below, come down and take out this liquidity, which would then be around the exact same zone looking at on the monthly time frame point of interest before we now start seeing either a reversal or a retracement, or will price break below and continue selling? We don't know. But for now, we're certain that our bias on the dollar is to the downside. On the 4-hour time frame, do we have the same thing? Yes, everything is giving us more room and more confirmation that there's still more room for the dollar to dig deeper. So with that being said, let's also look at the AUD-USD. On the AUD-USD monthly time frame, again, the way I started on the dollar, what do we have in store? Always look at the most recent swing, and you can see that the swing we have here is to the downside instead. So we have a bearish swing on AUD-USD. And what do we now expect? We're expecting price to retrace into a good enough zone before the overall structure is continued. And that is between 61 to 50 Fibonacci level. These are now the zones I'm looking out for. Expecting price to retrace into the zones before we continue to move to the downside. To confirm our trend and to be very specific of where we are, either the swing leg or the retracement leg on the chart, look at the weekly time frame, and you can see that our overall structure, our major structure, is still to the downside, with the minor structure printing back into our monthly point of interest. Are we together so far? Please confirm in the chat box. On the daily time frame, what do we have? The same thing. The exact same thing. Structure, major structure is to the downside, minor structure is retracing into the zone. So what are we doing on AUD-USD? We're going to be waiting for price to buy back into that zone. Remember that we said on the XY, we see more rooms to dig deeper. For AUD-USD now, we see more rooms for it to buy back into the zone before we now start to look for sell opportunities on the AUD-USD. Now you might be asking yourself, is it possible for you to find opportunities to buy back retracement? It is possible. It is possible if you're comfortable taking retracement trades. If you are not, you should be waiting for price to go back into those zones and then you trade along with the trend. So on the 1-hour time frame now, structure is still being printed as the downside, but I think I saw something on 15-minute time frame, and you can see that price already started to react off of that zone. There's a shoulder that was printed here. You have a shoulder and a sweep. and a break above. Price has now returned back into that shoulder. So from where price currently is, there is enough momentum for it to start to buy back into our point of interest, and our stop loss will be just below this sweep. Our stop loss will be somewhere around here. So this could be the first entry trial you try to take back the retracement of AUD/USD into where? Remember that we're trading into something. We're not just buying based on vibes, we're buying into liquidity zones. So our bigger perspective is now for AUD/USD to buy back into the zone, and then we can now start to look for sell opportunities. If what I've explained so far makes sense, please leave a thumbs up in the chat box. While you're doing that, let us proceed with NZD/USD. If you have questions, this is the perfect time to ask the questions in the chat box, and then we'll quickly look at that and proceed. Thank you, Mr. Ipon. Okay, monthly time frame, what do we see? The same thing, very similar to what we saw on AUD/USD. Latest swing structure to the downside to confirm our trend. But first, let's mark out our expected POIs, which is 61.8 to 50% fib level right here. Okay, weekly. Where are we in the market? Are we trading the swing leg or the retracement leg? On the weekly time frame, our trend, first of all, has been confirmed clearly to the downside, and we can now see the retracement happening, right? So overall structure, major structure is to the downside. Price is going to buy back into a good enough zone before we continue the overall structure. So two things, as usual, you either buy back the retracement if you choose to, or you wait for price to trade into. All right, or you wait for price to trade into this zone. Okay, are we still together? Perfect, thank you. So price is now going to trade back into this zone before we now start to look for sell opportunities, okay? Thank you. I like the feedback. It makes me know that we are together and I'm not just talking to myself. So until price trades into that zone, what we are doing is playing the waiting game. But if you want to take retracements, you could go to the 1 hour time frame and see if you have structures you can mark out on your retracement swing. Do we have that? Yes, we do. So you could go ahead and mark out this zone. Remember, this is now a retracement, so you're marking out from here. Price is now retesting our 61.8% fib level. So once you see a base and a continuation, you know what to do. And I believe we already have that on NZD/USD. A base was already printed right here. And continuation pattern. So is there a variation pattern on 5-minute time frame for us to now take a retracement trade on NZD/USD? Let us see. I believe we all know what a variation pattern looks like by now, for those of us who have been joining our sessions regularly. So this is not our most preferred variation pattern. It's not as clear as I would prefer right here. This could have served, but we don't want to force it. We want to see something as clear as day, right? So this could serve as a variation pattern for us to now take. But instead, let us wait to see a clearer variation pattern. This is even better. This is way better. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this out. Remember that when you're taking retracement swings, they do not count as high probability trades. High probability trades happen when you're trading along with the trend. So this is a good enough spot. This could have been where we entered our retracement trade from. But if you're not comfortable taking retracement trades, wait. And what are you waiting for? Simply wait for price to trade back into our bigger perspective, our higher time frame point of interest. Okay, so with that being said, let us quickly look at USD CAD before we continue the second half of today's analysis, looking at NAS 100 US30 with my colleague. So on the monthly time frame, what do we see? It's very similar. It's systematic. What you're doing on every time frame is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have a checklist of repetitive things that you do on the charts, right? For those of us who are new to trading, it's simple. Send us a DM and you can take one of our training sessions to learn how we trade at the Value for Trading Academy. So monthly time frame, what do we see? You want to mark out your most recent swing as well, right? So from point A to point B, you can see that price is now starting to react downward. Looking at the weekly time frame now, what do you want to do when you mark out these swings? You want to wait for price to get into premium zones for you to continue buying or continue selling. In this case, we want to continue buying from a good enough level. Remember, you always want to buy low and sell high, buy low and sell high. So waiting for price to trade into the zone. There's still more room for USD CAD to trade below, except of course, it's a strong moving trend. And if that is the case, it's just going to find support from this level and continue to buy. But so far, what I am looking out for is for price to trade in here. For price to trade in here. On the daily time frame, what do you see? The same thing. So this is now the general perspective. I'm waiting currently this session, apart from the AUD USD, I'm going to be playing the waiting game on NZD USD and USD CAD for them to trade into my premium levels, and then I'm going to start taking my trades. If you understand and this has been helpful, please leave an emoji for me before we go ahead and cover the next session for this morning's analysis. Right. All right, thank you so much for joining. Please do not go anywhere. We'll be back in less than a minute. So I would always say, cheers and God bless.
London session market color for today, Tuesday, the 5th of February 2025. Right? Welcome over there, Freddie. I believe you can hear me and you can see me. All right. Okay, let's go straight into the charts. This morning we'll be looking at the market, in the indices market, seeing what has happened. So far, so good. It has been a roller coaster of emotions in the market, right? The tariff news again is here, and President Trump is talking about pressing in on giving Canada and Mexico the tariff, sanction that he's talking about, that's been talking about since the beginning of the year, right? And while that is happening, we can see that the market is also responding to it. Like I said, this year is, specifically this year, less of technical analysis and more of putting your ears in the market, listening to what is happening, right? Because we were expecting a very bullish run from this place since the same president claim is easing the tariff. That was like two weeks ago, right? Said it's easing tariff on Canada and Mexico, all up until yesterday, where he also brought out the issue once again, and this time it seems to be enforcing it. So that being said, we are kind of in a mix of what to do, right? The market is really reacting off of it. And one other thing that is making the US indices, that's the US 30, 100, and NASDAQ, right, is the expectation from the biggest AI company in the US, NVIDIA. NVIDIA earnings report is coming out tomorrow, right? And we are expecting what is going to happen, like what the number is going to be, right? Because if for any reason it comes out very positive, that is going to give investors, insights to what they should expect from other, companies. Meaning, if NVIDIA's earnings report come out very positive tomorrow, way higher or better than expected, that signifies that there's still high demand of chips, right? And then we can keep, buying in our position. But if that is not the case, meaning the noise and, shake from DeepSeek actually affected them, that also signifies something in the market, right? That people are beginning to, reduce their demand for chips. and probably going for alternative. All right, that being said, let's just look into the technical part of things this morning. Right, on the US 100, we can see that we are selling off, right? We are selling off from the highs, which we thought was going to start buying itself, right? We can see a sell-off from this high, and ultimately price is going to inevitably most likely just sweep through everything. I'm trying to see. Give me, my chart is a bit hanging. Okay, I think we're good now. All right, so we have a currently loading. Apologies. Okay, we're back. All right, we have a lot of liquidity zone around there. Talking from a technical perspective, that price is going to sweep through, right? And we know very well if the earnings report comes tomorrow and it comes very, very positive, guys, we are going to see a U-turn. This is US 100. We are going to see a U-turn. For us to see any significant, trade in this market will be tomorrow, probably after tomorrow, market close after tomorrow, right? Because that NVIDIA earnings report is going to give us clear insight into what we should expect. And the market is going to respond heavily to that news, right? So for now, technically speaking, we're just waiting for price to, that started forming a minor sell, a minor structure to the downside. That's very structured to the downside. This trend line has been broken, and we expect a retest for it to continue. Something around this level, right, has been broken. We can all see it, and we expect a retest for it to continue to the downside, right? Of course, price didn't even get to that retest. It didn't get to retest this trend line before it started falling to the downside, which is also still normal, right? However, for me personally, I want to see what is happening tomorrow, what will happen tomorrow in terms of the earnings report. That will give me clear insight to what I should do. If I see it very negative, I'm going to join the sellers with my full chest and start selling this market, right? Because I know it will take a while before the market adjusts, right? But then that initial sell will be very heavy. Probably we might even see a gap, who knows, right, in the market. But then this is technical analysis. So let's continue. We expect that price is going to retest somewhere around this trend line or even this breaker block here, right? Which I want to believe, yes, price did, right? Price retested this breaker block to the downside and is currently selling off to the downside. Where do we expect this sell to go all the way? At least clearing this liquidity from this zone, right? That price should clear this liquidity from this zone, yeah, right? This zone, yeah. Price is going to clear this liquidity, clear this one, and ultimately clearing this one, right? And that's if we see this momentum continuing today into tomorrow, right? But then I want to believe it's going to slow down. I want to believe it's going to slow down because the market is anticipating that earnings report heavily. But then if it doesn't slow down, I expect it to clear all of this, right? On the 1 hour time frame, to see if there's any opportunity to sell this market. There is, however, let me look at even 15 minutes, see if it's clear. It isn't clear, right? There's no clear box strategy around the zone, right? This will have looked like one, but then it's not clear enough, right? It's very, very, it's in a range. So what method can we use to enter the market? Probably just a normal support and resistance will be what we might want to use, right? Although price has even tested all of them, right? Probably if we see, price has tested them all, right? So I'm just looking at a way to enter the market for today in terms of intraday trade, but then there isn't even one. Fair value gap. Say you're expecting price to come back to this fair value gap, test into this fair value gap, and start, selling to the downside. Meaning this is serve as inducement. All of this will serve as inducement. Why price is going to tap into this fair value gap and start, selling to the downside. All right. That being said, these are just intraday play that we are looking forward to even probably happen. More for me personally, I would love to see the earnings report first before I take any trade, especially on Nasdaq. That's US 100, right? Because it's a US tech stock, AI stock, which is the leading stock now in the stock market, right? It's the leading thing in the technology market, right? So let's move to our other pair, that's US 30. Also, all of them, they sold off heavily, right? They sold off heavily. And US 30 is currently on this other block. Will it hold? Right? In this other block hold is very obvious. Below the other block, we have a fair value gap. We have a fair value gap, which is very significant. All right. That being said, also, we have like a breaker block here. Okay. You have something here. So if this for any reason doesn't hold, we expect price to tap into this breaker block here and then start pushing to the upside again from a technical perspective, right? From a technical perspective, we expect a tap into this zone and then price, start pushing to the upside. So that's like my expectation for this market. All right, on the daily time frame. So on the 4-hour time frame, it's pretty much the same thing. It's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same thing, right? That fair value gap. Look at how obvious it is on the 4-hour time frame, right? So again, interesting. Price might want to tap 50% of the fair value gap, right? Which aligns with another breaker block here. So price might want to really retest this fair value gap. It tests this fair value gap, 50% of the fair value gap. It's in alignment with breaker block. It has a structural liquidity just above it, which is this. So this is a very big possibility in the market. Structural liquidity that is going to be swept. We have this fair value gap, 50% of the fair value gap. On the left-hand side, we have a breaker block, right? Another block that was violated, which turns it to a breaker block, right? So it's something interesting that we might want to look at towards the open of New York market, right? New York stock market. So that's by 2:30, 3 o'clock, we should see those volatility or those volume coming into the market. All right, we'll go to the last one, which is the S&P 500 market, right? On the S&P 500 market, also have almost like the same thing across board, right? You have the same thing across board. It has, broken its own trend line. Is this trend line support also? Yeah, has broken it clearly and also in a way kind of retested it too, right? Retested it. And where are we coming down to? We're coming down to this zone, yeah, coming down to this zone, right? All of these are just technical plays in the market. I really want to, I'm big on fundamental for this. I have to be honest with you, right? That's just the essence of this conversation. I'm very big on fundamental this market. If I don't see fundamentals supporting what I'm doing, I'm not even entering this. Let me be seeing another block. I won't take it because whatever Trump says is bigger than any other block you can see in the market. All right, so we are looking at this, right? And price has broken through this zone, kind of retested it sharply, and then it's falling to the downside. I want to believe that price most likely is going to retest this again and then continue the movement to the downside, right? So that is one thing I want to really, really capitalize on. For S&P 500, I really don't have a trade play on this market for now. I'll rather stick with US 30 and also wait for US 100. US 100 trade will be by tomorrow. US 30, we can take it today if price gets to that level, right? But for S&P 500, I really don't have. Let me adjust this trend line. Okay, actually did very well in the breaking. All right, so actually we might not see any retest again because adjusting this trend line now shows what has happened in the market, right? Price actually retested that trend line and it's beginning to move to the downside. It's beginning to move to the downside. Ultimately, we're going to see at least a sweep of all of this trend line liquidity. We should see a sweep of this trend line liquidity to the downside. I'll be looking out for a box pattern on this market also, in case I see that on probably M15, that's 15 minutes or 30 minutes. I want to, let me quickly check that if we even have something around that in the market yet. Okay, we don't. Price already tested it, right? This was the sweep and then break to the downside and then price retested it. So we don't have anything yet for the box pattern in this market. All right, guys, that will be the end of today's analysis. For today, let me know in the comment section if we have any question. Let me know if we have any question in the comment section. That's in the chat box. And also if this was helpful, so that we can call it a day and then prepare for our New York market color. That would be 2 p.m. in the afternoon. All right, let me know. Ashafa Sheung, Emmy James, Ibukun Salako, Jefta Peters, and Kainde Ola Teru. Forgive me if I didn't get that pronunciation correctly. Okay, Jeff Peters is asking for Euro USD. So I believe you're new to the market color. The way it is being done is that every day we have analysis that we do on certain currency pair or certain asset class. I mean to say, right? Monday is on gold, DXY, yen, everything related to the dollar, yen, and gold. Right? Tuesday is for indices, that's the US indices, Nasdaq, US 30, S&P 500, and commodity assets. You can see earlier today we analyzed AUD, USD, NZUSD, USD card, and the rest like that. So those are commodity assets. The assets that are correlated to commodity, that right? So the same thing by tomorrow also we'll be having analysis on yen and DXY and the rest like that. So every day has its own unique analysis because we have different traders trading different asset class, right? Nonetheless, it's fine. I really believe by tomorrow you're going to get analysis on Euro USD and GBP USD. That being said, thank you so much for joining. By 2, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be meeting again. Ensure you join so that we can see if there's any changes in the market. We can all see it together. And if there's no changes, of course, we'll make those information very available. All right. Thank you for joining. Cheers and God bless everyone. I wish you all productive trading.